I roll out of bed and see on the glowing rectangle of doom that the fascist government will be equipping their goon squad with torture gloves. What a cool use of our tax dollars. I check the mail and wave to my neighbor. She's wearing an ankle monitor, even though she's here legally. Love that we treat home health aides like criminals and do nothing to prosecute the actual criminals destroying the country. Thanks, Merrick Garland. Wow, my electric bill is $1 bajillion. Gonna have to sell some blood plasma to cover this. Making ordinary citizens like me pay to subsidize data centers might be obscenely expensive, but it's also an environmental disaster. I try to do some
I have a question of my own. Do you lock your doors at home? At your residence, do you have a lock on your door? Do you use that lock?
I do. Yeah, I do.
You have an alarm?
And why is that? I mean, you lock your door. You lock your door because you want to know who's coming into your home. It's not because you hate the people outside. It's because you love the people inside. Well, that's what needs to be done with the United States of America. That's why we have a border. We have a right to know who's coming into our country and why. That's what keeps us safe.
Welcome back to the channel. If you're loud, you're conservative.
I have a question of my own. Do you lock your doors at home?
Got to go!
I have a question of my own. Do you lock your doors at home, at your residence?
Got to go!
Why?
Hey! Ho ho!
Why?
Donald Trump has got to go!
Why?
Hey!
Look at this.
So you would do anything for like all the illegals
I think
and
we
stuff?
have to be fair.
Guys, this is great. I think we found a new home for you guys.
Go.
Yeah. What do you mean? You just said you wanted to support everyone, though.
I don't.
No, they're
Guys,
not violent.
we got
They're
a new
not
house.
violent.
Thank you very much.
Can they stay for dinner?
Guns aren't necessary. No.
Wait for it.
What can I use against a rapist or someone that wants to come and break into my home and murder me?
A knife.
A knife, if they have a gun, because criminals don't follow laws.
Okay, well, if there was no guns, your rapist wouldn't have a gun.
That's not how it works. Drugs are illegal.
Okay, and people still do drugs, so why?
You just literally dissolved your own argument.
No, sis. No, sis.
Republicans like to call liberals libtards. Then liberals should call Republicans retards. It's true. Makes sense, doesn't it? If Republicans like to call liberals libtards,
ICE must.
You cannot wipe us out.
Do you think Charlie Kirk is a white supremacist?
I believe that in the American tradition, a conservative is someone who wants to pass the civilization and culture that we inherited in better shape than we received it to the next generation. That we want to conserve the American tradition, which means the American people and it means the American experiment. It means the American creed and it means the American governmental order. It means all of it. We never receive it perfectly because it's never been perfect. I believe that in the American tradition, a conservative is someone who wants to pass the civilization and culture that we inherited in better shape than we received it to the next generation. That we want to conserve the American tradition, which means the American people and it means the American experiment. It means the American creed and it means the American government and it means constitutional order. It means all of it. We never receive it perfectly because it's never been perfect. It's hard enough just to receive it and pass it on down. We should be trying to receive it, better it, and pass it on down. But I think that if you reject it, if you reject the creed, if you reject the American proposition, If you reject the American founding because you have come to believe in a sort of de jure, blood and soil view of what it means to be an American, then you're not a true son of your fathers. You're not fighting for what your fathers fought for in this country. And similarly, if you're letting the country be completely overrun by unchecked immigration and people who don't share our values and don't, well, then of course you're not actually bequeathing the country you received from your fathers either. You got to balance the extremes, fight for those values, and bequeath those values into the future.
So the message is clear. If you don't like United States, go to another place. But don't demonetize who lives here and who love this country, okay?
What Medicare for All does is it does away with the private insurance market, right?
Democrat Abdul Sayed wants the government as the only option. Come on.
Now has one single payer. That's why we call it single payer, right? One insurance, and that is the government of the United States.
And there it is, folks. Straight from his own fucking mouth. Michigan Democrat Abdul El Sayed just admitted the quiet part out loud. Medicare for All does away with the private insurance market entirely. One single payer, the government, meaning the taxpayers like you and me. This is the same guy who wants to erase your choice of coverage so that politicians can run the whole show. Who thinks competition is the enemy instead of the reason that new treatments even exist? Who believes that the same government who loses track of billions of dollars can somehow manage your doctor visits better than you? Who will raise taxes on working families to bankroll a system where bureaucrats decide if your care is necessary? Let me ask you this, in all seriousness.
This is the same guy that yesterday in Fox News said the circumcision is the same the surgeon change gender.
Do you really want the people who take 6 months to mail a simple form deciding whether you get that MRI next week or next year? If your answer to that question is yes, then I have a little nugget for you. Handing your health care to the federal government is like letting the DMV design the fucking operating room. Also, if you're part of the military community, check the link in my bio. We've got something special for you.
What Medicare for All does is it does away with the private insurance market, right? It now has one single payer. That's why we call it single payer, right? One insurance.
You cannot wipe us.
I am apparently what's considered a radical Christian conservative, but the thing about that is my views actually aren't radical, they're biblical. If you spend your time on the internet calling Trump the Antichrist, I essentially know you haven't read the Bible. Do you know what Lot's daughters did to him? It's pretty gross stuff. They also weren't possessed. They were sinners. I know that Donald Trump is not a Christian. He's also not the Antichrist. He's just a sinner. Just like every other awful leader in the Bible that did actually worse things than him. And that is where the saving grace of Christ comes in. And some people are going to be like, oh, but that's the Old Testament. Okay, look at Paul. He wrote more than half of the New Testament. He used to get paid to murder Christians. And then he had the saving grace of Christ, the indwelling of the Holy Spirit. And that is what they mean when they say you will know them by their fruits. Christians are to be different. We are to be radical. To have the views that Christians have in 2026 is radically different than the world.
I want you to hear the real battle cry of a strong, independent feminist.
She's waiting for that hot dog to get shoved in there. Welcome back to If You Laugh, You're Conservative.
Just got permanently banned from Planet Fitness. Set off the lunk alarm because my balls clap too loud when I'm on the stair stepper. This is a prison.
So what makes someone a trans woman?
Their choice to be that, and they're telling me that that's their choice to be that.
It's my choice to be a ham sandwich. Does that make me a ham sandwich?
So I guess you know how to open the bathroom.
Do you believe that there should be a law?
What's the difference between...
We had a black president, just in case you didn't know. You know who voted?
What does it mean to be a conservative? Well, it means to conserve. But what are you conserving? Because the left seems to think that it's only the toxic white Christian patriarchy. So what are we conserving, preserving, upholding? How about the truth? How about reality? The reality is that the human condition, as far back as we can account for, is messy and terrible and plumb full of war or tyranny, with areas of time scattered throughout where we were either reloading the war machine or raising rebellions and trying not to die from famine or disease. Life was short, hard, and fast for 99% of the population up until 100-ish years ago, literally. And you want to sit here and complain about capitalism when you have antibiotics and a car. You want to complain about men when there's the greatest infrastructure, commodities, necessities, and luxuries more readily available to the masses that
we need strong voices.
I'm a conservative kid.
It's usually a college campus against Charlie. I've noticed the swing of a college campus.
It's totally
with
changed.
Charlie now, and it's radically different, and it's so much more fun to watch. What do you attribute that to?
You know what it is? The people in this audience are smart, and they're panicking that they're not going to have a country. They're the first generation since George Washington to have it worse off than their parents. This generation is the most depressed, suicidal, anxious, drug addicted, lowest home ownership, poorest, most overweight.
So guys, what do you think about Charlie Kirk is right? What he is saying is truth? Tell me in the comments.
Like, how do y'all not... If you voted for Trump...
Here's how to respond when your liberal friends or family members say that Trump is a sexist. This is one of the most common criticisms of President Trump, and it's actually one of the easiest to debunk because all you have to do is point to his record, because his record tells a completely different story than what the left wants you to believe. Here are the 3 points that you need to hit. The first thing that you need to remind them is that Trump appointed the first female White House chief of staff in American history. Susie Wiles has been running the most powerful office in the world since January of 2025, and before that, she was also trusted to run his campaign. So that's not something a sexist does, right? They don't put women in powerful positions or trust them to run their entire operation. So if President Trump is a sexist, he's really, really bad at it. The next point that you need to make is about what Trump has actually done for women in this country. On his very first day in office, Trump signed an executive order to protect women-only spaces. And yes, we're talking about locker rooms, but we're also talking about domestic abuse shelters and prisons, ensuring that biological males cannot access spaces that are designed for women's safety and women's dignity. On top of that, Trump may dismantle.
So guys, I don't know what to say to you, but first of all, I want to thank you for watching this video with me. If you like, don't forget to subscribe. Drop your thoughts in the comments. God bless you. God bless United States. I'll see you next video.